They say that the human race is doomed, that we have lost touch with our true nature, that the media has corrupted us, and that the planet has no future. I disagree. I believe that humanity is full of hope, and that our salvation lies within each one of us. My name is Brian Rose, and my job is to listen, the oldest method of learning known to man. Each week I seek out individuals that are changing the world, people who are living and thinking in a different way. Their stories will challenge your beliefs, make you question your choices, and perhaps inspire you to change. I never planned on doing any of this, but now I can't stop. Join me on this mission and make humanity something we can all be proud of.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Patrick Turner-Lee, recent graduate of the Business Accelerator. Welcome.
Hi.
Tell us about you. Where are you from? What do you do?
Okay, so I'm from Brighton, sunny Sussex, occasionally, if you're lucky. I'm an artist, a painter, but that's it's quite new, so it's a little bit of a backstory because it's happened really recently. So the story is about 2013, beginning of 2013, I've been working for 25, 26 years in a company job, partly because I felt I should, partly because I've got 3 kids, I'm married and got a house, and partly because I thought I could do it and I thought I could do really well. But I never seemed to do really well because actually it wasn't the right thing for me to be doing. So it got to 2013, I decided I want to change everything. So I made like a real effort in 2013, getting up earlier, sort of a lot of determination that everything was going to change. So it got to the middle of the year and I found this big house, bigger house, not massive, but a bigger house than what I've got, because I thought my problem was that the house wasn't big enough. So I put an offer in, accepted, tried to sell my house, that was going okay. Then every time we went to finish, to sign the contracts and stuff, something would turn up that was wrong with the house that we were buying. So I thought, I've just got to be even more determined. But it kept putting off. It got to November and I was really couldn't understand why all these things were going wrong, because everything else had just gone so sweet.
So what happened?
Well, on Christmas Day, I had a heart attack, which in 2013, and everything changed. But of course it wasn't in the way that I thought. So while I was recovering, I was really exhausted, put on loads of medication that seems to be, you have to when you have a heart attack. It's not really an option. The doctors give you a load of medication. So while I was recovering, I started drawing, I started doing pencil work, I started doing watercolours, and then by October 2014, I suddenly got hold of some oil paints and I started to paint, and the only way I can describe it was like I hit an eternal moment. I'd arrived, I started to paint with oils, and it was like I just communicated with something really, really deep, which was at last I'd found the medium that I needed to express myself. This feeling of being trapped in a cage started to shift, and much to my amazement, I made a painting, and my wife, who's like been an artist for years, she said, "Wow, that's really amazing," which encouraged me.
And what was the work you did before for 26 years?
I was a manager in Royal Mail, so I was working...
Nothing related to this, not artistic,
No.
Not creative.
No.
Wow, this is a fascinating story. Okay.
So then I put it on Facebook, the painting, and I started to sell them, which encouraged me even more. So I just continue to paint. And suddenly I turned a room in the house into a studio. I started to paint, and I just thought, from my experience with Facebook, putting a picture on, I started to stumble around on social media, set up a few pages. I called myself PTL Paintings. I went sole trader as a business, and then the universe kept answering me, and I got this great studio, and I started to sell paintings around the world. So I sold a painting to Washington, I've sold them to Milan, all over the world, so all over the UK and stuff. But I guess stumbling around. So clock forward, middle of last year, I started to hear all this stuff about plant-based diet, and from different people talking about the China study and Dr. Michael Greger. So then I saw Dr. Michael Greger on London Real, the interview, and I just loved it, and I loved London Real, the whole buzz and everything. Didn't really think any more about it. And I went plant-based in November and then by then I've stopped taking all of the medication that I was on, because I realised I stopped taking it. And when I went to see the specialist and I said, I've stopped taking all the medication, I'm doing plant-based diet, I'm doing juicing, I'm doing exercise, the specialist says, well, it's up to you what you put in your body. And I was expecting him to tell me off. So it was like a recurrence of this authority stuff going on.
And so what finally brought you to seek our help on the Business Accelerator?
Well, I kind of realised that partly through the painting and through my journey, that not only was I learning to paint, but the effect of the painting was having an impact on my health and respect in my life. And so I've stopped drinking alcohol, I've stopped doing all the habitual things. Gradually they're starting to fall away, and I've started to see a connection between this, not that I'd cemented it together. And I started the beginning of this year, after going plant-based and connecting with London Real, I started this year with an idea that I can help other people do the same. I thought I'd got to the point of having a heart attack because I was doing something that I really didn't want to be doing, but on the face of it to anybody else, I was like doing the right thing. I was paying my mortgage, I was looking after my kids, so there wasn't going to come from anywhere else. So I came to this understanding that actually I didn't need a new house, I didn't need to do this, I didn't need to do that. I need to change me. It's me that needs to change, and I need to go a step further. So suddenly I'm in my studio watching YouTube, and every time I put on YouTube, there's this guy called Brian Rose talking about saying, hey, do you want to do this course? You know, you fed up with doing what you're doing? Of course, I thought, no, I'm not fed up with what I'm doing, but I need to go somewhere. I need to do something. I don't know what it is. So gradually battling with a certain resistance of around money, which I'm still working on. It's work in progress. It's getting a lot better. And resistance of just not really being sure and stuff. One day I made a decision, the Sunday before the course started, after I'd had various communications suggesting it might be a good idea, and I didn't unsubscribe because it was still a good idea, that I decided, okay, on this particular day, and I made a sort of determination, affirmation, if today I sell a painting, I'll do the course. Literally, extraordinarily, straight away, my phone went ping, and there was a message from a friend who said, I want to buy your portrait of Frank Zappa. And I went, okay, it's yours. And that was it. I pressed the button. So it's like my life started me painting. My life decided that I should go plant-based diet, and my life decided this is absolutely the right thing to do. And yes, so here I am.
That's a crazy story, Patrick. How old are you?
I'm 59, 60 this year.
Okay, this is a great story. All right, so you sold the painting and you pulled the trigger and you joined this course. What are those first 2 weeks like? Because, you know, I'm throwing a lot of information at you. I'm asking you to do 2 modules. You got 150 people from around the world, live calls, accountability doc. What are you feeling?
Okay, so some of the tasks I just leapt into, and I'd already been working with the idea, and I say idea because it wasn't of vlogging, not that I'd called it vlogging, but I'd been talking in my phone and thinking about filming myself painting and stuff, so that came okay. But when I started to have problems in that first couple of weeks, I just hit this severe doubt, this place. In fact, I woke up in the middle of the night shaking, almost in tears, because I just really felt that first of all, I realised that this was serious. It was a serious course, serious undertaking. And I hit this nerve in myself, which was saying, do you know what? You've bitten off more than you can chew. This little voice sat on my shoulder while I was shaking. And so I went downstairs. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And fortunately, the wonderful team leader, Mary Alexander's in Hawaii. It's the middle of the day for Mary, so I'm shaking. I was shaking so much, I had my phone, and I just texted and put a message into the message and said, sorry, I've got to dip out here, I can't do this. I haven't got I realise I've really gone out of my depth. And Mary said, oh, great, don't worry, and she just encouraged me, had that conversation with me, and she said, don't worry, just stay with the feelings. And then I just got on with the tasks. I just took it on board that the best thing I can do, following what I knew already, that my life knows what to do, and my life carried on with the tasks. And so that was the first couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, look, this is natural. Whenever you go to do something that's great, as I say, you're going to have some resistance. And if you didn't, I feel like something's weird or we're not pushing you hard enough out of your comfort zone. So I'm glad you went with it, and I'm glad you decided to keep going. What was, now that you look back at the whole course, the big win for you on this course? What are you proud of that you overcame and you accomplished?
Okay, so wind forward to nearer the end of the course, i.e. module 6, i.e. I just had some funny experiences actually around the webinar. Because so I had a wow about it. I had a funny experience because I was trying to I really recognised in myself that it kept coming up, this fear of authority, inverted commas, that the idea of doing the webinar, there was part of me that was full of fear of doing it, and I couldn't understand why. And I realised it was this authority thing. But so I got into a complete muddle when it said, like, you know, when we were talking about tell everybody, I sort of went onto my computer and I thought, right, I'll tell everybody. So I've got my contacts, and I've got 1,400 contacts because of being involved with various different organisations that have got reasonable controls in place, that lots of emails that I don't send emails everywhere. And I got these contacts into like the mail responder and just press the button. So 1,400 emails went out to all these people,
inviting them to your webinar.
And so I went back home and literally was in the same state as I was a few weeks before, and just thought, I've really, you know, these organisations are going to come around, there's going to be a van outside with these organisations, I'm going to get bundled into the back of a van, and serious questions are going to be asked.
And so what really happened?
What
was it
really
like?
happened was I spoke to a friend of mine who'd got it. She said, well, just use the same mailing list and send out an email saying, I'm really sorry, I apologise, I sent out this email. I just connected my wrong contacts, which I did. And then I got actually much more, I made loads of dialogues with people because they were actually really pleased to hear about what I was doing. And they said, don't worry, everybody makes mistakes, it's just human. So that was brilliant. And then the other wow moment was I enjoyed finally, on my 6th webinar, I finally began to enjoy it and realised that behind me, while I'm doing more webinar, I've got all of my paintings on the wall in my studio. The penny dropped. Why am I... Actually, I've been selling paintings. Here's an opportunity. I had Facebook Live on, I had my webinar. There's an opportunity, better than any gallery, better than anything I could think of, to get people to see my work. So 2 things happened. One guy at the end of the webinar just popped up and said, and I knew him, but he popped up and said, and he's an artist that hasn't really been painting for a while. He just said, Patrick, I'm really interested and I want to do it, because he just had an operation and he couldn't do all the things he was doing before and he wanted to do it. And that moment was, that's my micro niche. Oh, blimey. And he came up virtually at the end of the webinar. And the other thing was, somebody on Facebook went, I like this, I like your paintings. And then he messaged me and gave me a commission from watching me talk.
Right.
So it was just like, eureka. You know what? And I walked away from that going, why, what was that about? And I realised, like I said before, that all I need to do is change myself. And I wouldn't have been able to get to this point on my own. I would have either had a drink, I either just wouldn't have done it, I would have just procrastinated and put it off. I would have talked about it being a really great idea for months and not done it. So it was being in this, not being a loyal, hard-working chap. I wanted to go green for the team. I wasn't going to cop out. I'm not going to cop out. And so, yeah, I'm proud of myself.
You should be proud of yourself, you know, and that's the crazy thing. When you pull the trigger and make a move, you'll realize that from that move, you'll realize there's other moves. And so for you, you're selling a painting on a Facebook Live or a Zoom call where you're also selling a low-cost product. And that's a whole nother potential revenue stream. You could even hold webinars and just talk about the inspiration for these paintings, and at the end you could even sell them. So you could do all these different things, and you figure out your micro niche by getting feedback from someone who was a friend and even an artist who you probably thought would never even want your course.
Exactly.
Because it's about rejuvenating maybe these artists, which is all part of your story. So look at this, look at what you're learning, Patrick. It's incredible.
It's
And I couldn't have taught you that. You had to learn that yourself, but you did it by pushing forward and going into the fear.
Yes.
So that's super impressive, and you should be proud of that, because like you said, you could have had a drink, you could have put it off for a few months, you could have told your friends it was the greatest idea. That would have been easier.
Yes.
But you did that, so that's super impressive. What are your plans for the next 12 months? What do you want to do with all of this new knowledge?
Well, it's fantastic. So I have got really big plans. So I'm lifestyle art, renewing well-being and health through art, and I'm pitching on a regular basis. So within a year, I've got a target for a year to have the revenue of so I've been saying to myself every day that I'm going to, a proud owner of a business with revenues of £10,000 a month, creating incredible value in society. So I'm aiming, that's my goal. And so I'm running my low-cost product starting on Tuesday. I've got a my first call. I've put some work out. I'm starting to get feedback already. It's a small group, which is ideal. And at the same time, I'm developing my first premium product around making a painting. So I've got somebody in the low-cost product who's helping me develop that. I've got an event in May, which is like another means by which I can build my audience in a spiritual and well-being centre. And so I just want to build on that. I've got I've got a couple of people that want to be a part of the course and maybe run a module about having a look at making art in a different way, some sort of collaborations in courses with them and with me.
No flies on you, huh, Patrick? You're not playing around.
No, I'm gonna. I've got it's. It's really, I'm really excited, and I just feel if I can, even one person decides not to have a heart attack and actually pursue their dream through being involved with me and being influenced. And so it's not so much about the painting. What I want to do is remind people that they can do anything. That there's no, I can't, let's get it out, because I really want to influence as many people to be able to stand up and take responsibility for what they want to do and do anything that I can to help. And the more that I think in this way, the ideas, the support from my environment, the support from my friends, it's just, it's like a magnet.
Well, you're doing it. You're inspiring me. Speak about the community of people here. I mean, you mentioned, Mary Alexandra, incredible team leader. What's it like for all of these people around the world to now meet them here at graduation and see what they're doing? What is that experience like?
Absolutely fantastic. The buzz and the commonality. I feel it's the commonality of what everybody's doing that, however I perceived it through the course, at first I realised that actually everybody in their own spheres, it's time for us to say, look, we've got so much to give. We've got so much to give to help other people. And so building up revenues and business is just a means by which we can support and do that. And it's the value that we're putting out into society that I just see shining out. And I think anybody that wasn't really understanding that so well from like meeting here and like over this weekend will go away sort of refreshed, and these groups can carry on, the communities carry on, and it's definitely with the work that I want to do, it's so completely important that I have groups of people doing it and they form communities. It's absolutely what I want, so that artists support other artists, and people that have never been artists can become artists if they want. They can get supported, but they can do all of these things together and build up this community. So it's inspired me to see a way forward. I'm becoming accomplished at what I do, but the only way that I'm going to become really accomplished at what I do is by doing more of it.
Yes, that is true. And tell me about you. How have you changed? If we walked out on the street and we bumped into the old Patrick who didn't take this course, how is that guy different than you?
There's definitely, there was a big part of me that was Patrick walking down the street that would say, for example, I would have a painting, and I would have a painting, yes, I'd go, hey, I'd be able to engage with somebody and say, look, here's my paintings, if you like one, buy one. But what was happening inside was, but I'll probably sell it to you half price. I've already discounted it, I've already undervalued, and I'm still battling with it, undervalued what I've done, my work, but at least I was having a go. Now the difference is that I'm beginning And I feel it's a gradual process of really understanding the monetary value of what the value that I'm giving people, the inspiration, the encouragement that I'm giving people, that actually the money exchange is a means by which that can grow, because it can just grow and grow and grow, and I can inspire other people to do the same thing. So that's the difference, is I'm clear. I've got a clear flight path. I've got a clear strategy, thanks to yourself, Business Accelerator, all the people we've been in, completely inspired to be able to go back to that when I have doubts, because I'm human, when I don't feel brilliant, which I don't do every day. I can go back, I can sit and work through these various, look again and realise what I've achieved already. And actually, also gradually, as these communities of people expand around the work that I'm doing, that'll inspire us as well to beat through these doubts.
Yeah, it will. Last question, to someone who's on the edge, thinking about taking the accelerator or thinking about learning more about their business, but is just still like, maybe I should wait, or maybe this isn't the right time, what would you tell them?
Do it. Absolutely do it, 100%. I would just say, look, if you do the Business Accelerator, all of those thoughts will be dealt with. And I say, why that? What if they were to say to me, why did you say that? I said, well, I had exactly the same thoughts. I promise you, for 2 weeks before I pressed the button, I had exactly the same thoughts that you had. I thought I could do it myself. I looked at some of the material, and the truth is, you need to do it, and you need to be the people that are in that moment, going through, facing up to these resistances and breakthrough. Because if you do, you'll change your life, and you'll begin to change the world in the way that you actually want to.
Patrick, I love seeing your faces on the live calls. You're always super positive. You were there. You're giving me lots of this and giving me lots of this. We had conversations on those live calls. Your energy was really important on this course, and I really appreciate your honesty and talking about resistance. And, waking up in the middle of the night and freaking out, that's natural. That happens for any entrepreneur. And the problem with a lot of artists is that they think, oh, I'm not good at business. I don't want to focus on that. I want to be creative. But as you know, if you don't have a good relationship with money, you can't change that many people. No. And you're subject to the galleries and all these other kind of gatekeepers, which just is not a good way to live. And now you're finding that, wow, I can do a low-cost product, and I can teach people to paint and sell my paintings and all these different things. And so it's weird, because you're 59, almost 60, and yet you talk like a 20-something-year-old online business person. That's how you're armed right now without this knowledge. And the next 10 years, you're going to do some amazing things. I know you are. And so for the next 12 months, you're with us in this program. We've got live calls. You've got your team. And I'm expecting some big things from you, Patrick.
Yes.
And I'm expecting you to show even some of the youngsters, what you can do with this knowledge. And that's the beauty of this community, is that they can feed off your energy, and you can feed off theirs. I mean, we had a 14-year-old on this course.
I know.
We had an 85-year-old on this course in my team, Bob Hand. And all of them are doing the same things, from all different continents and all different business models. So it is about going into the fear, and you've really done that, Patrick. So it's been an honor having you on this course. Welcome to the family, and thank you for being part of London Real.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, all the best, sir.
Thank you.
London Real doesn't stop when the conversation ends. You see, that's when we get started. Because everything begins with a thought, and then comes the action. The London Real Academy is our global transformation platform. Here we bring together thousands of students from over 75 countries. Whether you want to build a profitable business from your passion, or learn to speak to inspire, or broadcast yourself with your very own podcast, or accelerate your life to become a high-performance person, we have the online accountability course and personal mentoring program that will make your dream a reality. Join us, and we'll take your life to the next level together. Our next accelerator course is starting soon.